Well, I'm real excited to tell you that as your program chair, I haven't gotten a single program for the club. All of you have gotten the programs, and I appreciate it very much. And I follow up on all of your leads. And today we're going to have an exceptional speaker. This guy's been speaking to Rotary clubs all over the world. Barry, you're on, brother.
Coming.
You all read his bio, and I don't want to take another minute away from him. And he is televising this, by the way. It's live now.
No, that's not true. Later for YouTube. Aloha, thank you for having me today. Pleasure to be here. Oh, official.
Aloha!
Thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Ferry Zandvliet, and I'm from Rotterdam in the Netherlands, the biggest harbor city in the world. This is me 40 years ago with my twin sister Wendy. We were born on the same day, but I'm not gonna bore you with my family stories. This was me in 2015. I was a physical therapist, really had my life on track. I was about to start my own practice when I decided to take a road trip with 3 of my best friends, Bob, Frank and Dexter. A road trip that would take us to Paris for a rock concert. And it's really what bonds us as a group of friends. Music and traveling, and it's also an excuse just to drink a lot of beer together. What we like, I like the Hawaiian beer, by the way. What is it, Longboard? And the Blue Wave? Yeah, good beers. It was a Friday the 13th, November 2015. These are all photos from that day. It was a beautiful and sunny winter's day in November. The concert that night was being held in the famous Bataclan Theater in the center of Paris. It's a beautiful building, and inside it has a bit of Moulin Rouge kind of vibe, with a lot of red curtains on the wall, typical French. The band that is performing live, they're from California, the Eagles of Death Metal, and don't let the name fool you, they don't play death metal, it's easy rock and roll music. I know you all would like it, probably. And they play an excellent live show. It's one big party, people are having a dance and a beer, there's some beer flying through the air at some point. When suddenly, out of the blue, I hear some loud noises behind me. What started as a party turns into a war zone when 3 terrorists enter the room with Kalashnikov and started shooting everybody. And minutes, seconds after I'm having a beer, having a dance, I suddenly see people getting hit right beside me and die. You will die here. That is what my instinct, my reptile brain is telling me that night. And it was a real and honest emotion. I'd never felt that in my life, but I was 100% sure that I was going to die. Because this calmness came over me, I was like, okay, my life will be over in a few seconds. As you all can see, my instinct, my reptile brain had it wrong that night. I managed to survive, my friends as well. Doing this, we have to crawl out of the venue, and there are dead people and injured people lying all across the floor. We have to crawl over them. It was a horrible experience. But we all make it out alive, without physical injuries at least. Have a good look at this photo, because 90 people, they didn't make it out alive that night. They were shot. And over 300 were hit by bullets. So 1 out of 3 that night got hit by a bullet. Running through the streets of Paris, I have no idea where to go. I lost my friends at this time. But this lady on the left on the photo, her name is Veronique. She sees me running, and she sees that I'm a tourist and I don't speak the language, and she offers me her house and takes me into her home. She lays me on a couch with a blanket and a cup of tea. I always say that's my refugee hideout that night, and calms me down a bit. So after almost being shot, I'm already confronted with the best that mankind has to offer. I mean, it's just a matter of perspective. I spent the whole night on the couch of Veronique and her family, and the next morning it really hit me what happened. Then I found out that there were several attacks in Paris the night before. There was a bomb that went off at a soccer match, killing only 1. And some shooting incidents in bars and restaurants in the Bataclan venue area, making the death total of that night in Paris 130. But this is a beautiful photo, by the way, right? It tells a lot, I think. When you experience something like this, your surroundings, they also react to it and start to project stuff on you. Imagine this was 2015. We had a lot of refugees coming to Europe. And suddenly people would think, oh, you survived a terrorist attack. You probably think we should hashtag close the borders. They would tag me on Facebook in posts like this, or we should stop taking in refugees, or you probably hate Muslims. Well, I've never had emotions like that. And actually the opposite is true. When we drove back home the next morning after the attack, we spoke it out loud in the car that we also felt like refugees a little bit. I mean, we were also in a war zone, tried to escape that and look for shelter, go to a place safe, back to our families. And it also made me realize how fortunate I am that I was born in a country where this is the daily thing. I mean, imagine if you're born in a country that's in war, and that's something you have zero influence on. I mean, the day that I was born in Europe, I won the lottery, and I think you guys as well, the day you were born in the United States. And that's something I will never take for granted anymore. I mean, imagine if this was you. I mean, you can try to imagine what it's like, but I don't think we ever can really imagine what it's like. But if it would be me, and someone would tell me, if you get in a rubber boat and cross the ocean, there's a new house waiting for you, I would go on there, on the boat with my family. Don't judge too easily, that's the message I. This is one of the terrorists that is shooting at me that night. His name is Sami Amimor, and this is a childhood photo from him.
Harry, can you move just a little to your, yeah, so we can all see it over here?
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. I thought the microphone had something to do with this area, that's why No, there was some interruption. This is one of the terrorists that was shooting at me that night, Sami Amimor, and he was raised in a very progressive family. Not the image I had of a terrorist family. His father was a famous movie maker who took him all over the world, spoke over 5 languages, really progressive family. But I see a change in their son's behavior when he turns 25. He is letting his beard grow. He suddenly goes to the mosque a lot. And he is standing right in front of me that night at the concert. I remember seeing him. He was pointing his Kalashnikov at me. Well, can you blame the parents for what he had done? I personally think not. I'm glad a lot of you agree. A few years ago, I visited his family. He's not alive anymore. He blew himself up that night. But I spoke to his father, and I have a short video. Yeah, I was feeling really sorry for him, because not only did he lose his son, but a lot of people were blaming the family for what his son had done. Not me though. This was broadcasted on national TV in Holland in a documentary, and a lot of people got really angry with me, especially on Twitter. I got a few death threats that people got all pissed off that how dare I sympathize with a family of a terrorist. But I think we have to keep talking to each other about this. I mean, if we're closing doors or closing borders, I think that's not the solution to this problem. But a lot of anger I felt in the society. And also the singer from the band that was performing that night, you might have heard about that, he was really angry in the media as well. He was blaming all the Muslims for what happened. And he also said the security guard of the concert venue in Paris, they had something to do with the attack because they were people of color. But they were the biggest heroes alive because they opened the emergency exit. That's why I escaped through emergency exit. So, and he labels them as a terrorist. The anger that he is expressing in the media, I could relate to that a little bit because I also was a bit angry after this, surviving this attack. I mean, my whole life got turned upside down. I thought, why did this happen to me? And in the past, I would always victimize myself. If I had a setback in the past, it was never my fault. It was always my colleagues, my friends, and my family. I could never have a look in the mirror. But I think that night in Paris, being confronted with Veronique and her family, you know, my refugee hideout that night, Veronique planted a seed in my head that, I mean, in every setback there's something beautiful to discover. And the funny thing is, I wasn't really aware of the fact that I was changing after the attack, but my surroundings, they noticed it. Some people said, there's something different about you. You're much more open, just a lot more kind person, more friendlier. And the funny thing is, when you open up to your surroundings, your surroundings open up to you as well. Because I suddenly would have conversations or talks with friends of mine like this, and they would never open up to me in this way in the past. And it made me realize that your surroundings are a reflection of who you are. And since I was always an angry person in the past, I never want to be angry again. That's why I try to live my life by. I just don't want to be angry with people anymore. Because I also think I saw that night what it can do to you if you're always angry, if you're always blaming other people for bad things that are happening to you in your life. I don't know if it's the case with these guys, obviously, but I like to think about it in that way. I mean, they're not alive anymore, so we cannot ask them. When this new career of mine took off, it was never the original plan. I mean, I was a physical therapist, and I just did it on the side, but it took over my whole life. I mean, I always say you make plans and then life happens. But when this really became my full-time job, I came majorly inspired by other motivational speakers, and this one in particular. His name is Antoine Léry. He's from Paris, and he lost his wife that night in the Bataclan shooting. I met him. And stories like that really get me. You know, I was also there that night. It could have been me, though you should not ask yourself that question. Sometimes you do in your mind, like, why are we still alive? And that's what I like to express to you today as well, that I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity to stand here today and share you my story. There are a lot of people who didn't make it out alive that night. And I'm sharing my story now with the most diverse crowds, a lot of police-related, Rotary clubs, bank directors, you name it. I've spoken to everybody, and also to the little ones, the kids in school. I talk a lot about social media. We will just have a short talk about that. People really destroyed me on social media after it, when I went on TV a couple of times. And it's so anonymous and easy to post something and put your phone away and not think about it anymore. But it does get to you if you read it. And I always explain to them, if you would not say something in someone's face, then don't post it. I mean, it's just very, it's fake. And but these little ones, they are the most fun crowd to talk to. You guys are fun as well, but don't get me wrong. The questions kids ask, so pure and from the heart. They don't think about, oh, should I ask this? Maybe it's a bit too sensitive subject. They just want to know and ask out of the blue. A while ago, I created my own victim support group for Dutch terrorism survivors. We are an online community, and we go back to 9/11. And I created this because when you survive something like this, you go to the psychiatrist, you talk to your family, your friends, etc. But it's different when you talk to someone who has been into the same as you, who has the same experience. It heals as well. We are a group of 50 people, more or less, and we have meetings 3 or 4 times a year. And sometimes we go out and we drink a lot of beer. I mean, that also helps for some things, right? Sorry? Oh, I thought you said something about the beer. You look like you look like you like beer as well. Just kidding. Where was I? Yeah. Yeah, we are back on the couch with the father of Sammy. He also created a victim support group for Islamic families who had lost usually their son to terrorism. Because especially the mothers who are usually in a traditional role in the housekeeping, they're not on social media. He tries to connect them with each other, you know, to share their story. And I mean, they did not raise their kids to be terrorists. And they're like, what did my kid do? And everybody is blaming them. So he brings them together. Beautiful way of community building, I think. He also invited me on one of their meetings. Awesome to attend. And it sometimes looked like I'm a bit bragging about all the awesome things I'm doing these last few years. But I don't choose to victimize myself this time, the thing I always did in the past. And when you have a horrible setback, I mean, it's okay to be angry or sad, but in the end you have to lose this, stop playing the victim card. And some people find that very hard. They can create a whole identity about this one setback they had in the past, and they don't realize that they're limiting themselves, you know, because you keep on being a victim. And what helped me a lot is that I went straight back to concerts again, a week after the attack, and that I let go all of the anger that I had inside me, like I said a few moments before. And in the end, it's you decide if you're angry or not. Yes, it's you. This whole journey has been a life-changing experience so far. I've been sharing my story through all of Europe. And I had an idea in my head a few months ago that I wanted to go to the United States, but who knows about Ferry Zandvliet here? Who's going to call Ferry Zandvliet? Nobody. So I called you. You said, yes, come over and share your story. So I've been traveling through California, Nevada, and Hawaii this summer. I will leave Sunday. I go back home. And it's been a life-changing experience so far. I would never have figured that this was one of the possibilities, you know, after that horrible night back then. I'm going to close my story. I want to just point out this lady again, Veronique, that I had an encounter with that night in Paris, who opened her home and heart to me. And you are thinking, what a cute couple, right? Well, unfortunately, she is married. No, just, I mean, their whole family, they became instant family to me that night. They will play a huge part in my life, I'm sure of that. I'm going to close with this photo that was taken exactly a year after the attack on a Friday, 13 November 2016. This photo was taken with Bob, Frank and Dexter, my best buddies. And surround yourself by people that are uplifting to you. These guys are really uplifting to me, and filter negativity out of your life. You know, people that only suck energy. We all know a few, I think. That's how I've dealt with this ordeal the past 3.5 years. And I will never forget that there are over 130 people that are not alive anymore any day. That are not alive anymore today. That's what I wanted to say. But I've never been this happy. Thank you so much. Question?
Will you continue doing this work?
As long as people keep inviting me, yeah.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
He's 40.
I said it, yeah. Yeah, he knows, yeah. I'm 40.
So dank u wel.
Sorry?
Thank you, dank u wel.
Ja, dankjewel, alsjeblieft. Mahalo.
So, if you have a 10-year-old son or a 10-year-old daughter, what message would you give them?
Well, I think it's all about the victimizing part. I think even the little ones can do that to themselves. I mean, you know, making it seem like everything is out of your control, while you are always in control almost of everything that happens in your life. And letting go anger, appreciate the fact that you live in a country that's free of war. I mean, even for a kid, imagine if you were born in Syria. I mean, what kind of life would you have compared to here on Hawaii? I mean, talking about a paradise. So appreciate life more, and just be nice. It's not that hard. We make it hard. It's so easy.
How has it affected your family, your mom, your dad?
Yeah, that's interesting because they also survived attack. Yeah, for them it was very difficult as well, but they did not bother me with that in the beginning because I had so much on my mind. But my mom, a few months ago, said to me that, you know, I survived a terrorist attack. She said to me, I don't know if you've noticed that, but I had no room for that to even think about her. But they also needed help. And the victim support system in Holland, they are not even ready for that part of the attack. So I'm also informing victim support groups. Glad you asked. That's also, I'm doing presentations, victim support, some TV work in Holland. So it's a whole new career in the end.
One of the reasons is hatred, right? Why this happened. What causes that hate? Or what was the hatred about, you know?
Oh, on social media, you mean?
No, from the terrorists. What were they feeling?
Yeah, it's ideology, I guess, and it's I mean, the terrorists that are acting, they went through this whole radicalization progress. They had a training in camps in Syria. I mean, that's way out of my league. I have no idea what's going on there. I think
There's hatred for some things in the past.
I think that this was an attack on our freedom. I mean, a concert, a soccer match, bars. I think they tried to scare us. I mean, a lot of people are afraid to go out now in Europe. I mean, to concerts or crowded places. And that's what I didn't want to give into. But why they commit the attack, I have no idea. They think there are 70 virgins waiting for them in the afterlife. I don't know who would make that happy, but yeah, you?
They got that mixed up. There is a virgin and she is 72. They just got that mixed up.
Oh yeah. Good one.
You're saying to us that sometimes people say, oh, we shouldn't close our borders, or we should close our borders. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you aware of the conflict we're going through right now with?
Of course, yeah. I do understand the danger that comes with it, but I don't think the solution to happiness also for yourself is, you know, excluding people. And of course, if you take people in, there are going to be people that are going to take advantage of the freedom that we have. It's also when you open up a highway, people are going to stick to the speed limit, and people are going to kill someone because they had a lot of beers driving their car. It's the same thing with taking in refugees, I think. I think 95% are decent and good people, and the 5% they ruin it for everybody. We have a lot of refugees in Holland, and I'm also connected to some refugee projects, and it's like a micro society. There are people who are so happy that they're in Holland and they want to learn the language, want to get a job, and people are just lay on the couch all day and only want money and do nothing for it. So it's difficult, but I don't think the solution is keeping people out.
Okay, two more, Janet and Dave.
How did you tap in a week later, go to another concert? Plus, I'm very proud of you for the self-help group that you started and everything you've done.
Thanks.
The awareness building helps probably tremendously help someone in this group with PTSD today. But how did you, a week later, pull up your bootstraps and do what you did? What was so special that you were able to recognize you could fade away and die, or you could turn this into a positive for yourself and others?
Well, I think I go to concerts 3 or 4 times a month, so a lot, and I had a ticket, so it would have been harder not to go. I thought, God damn it, I'm going to go. And of course, there were sweaty hands, but I had some beers and everything was fine. I was checking the emergency exit. So the first time, it was a good experience. I'm glad I did it. It was difficult the first time, yes.
So facing your fear.
Face your fears, actually.
Helped
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Good job.
I just want to thank you. You had a choice after this happened to you.
We all do. Yeah.
You could have hidden, you could have been afraid, but instead you've decided to share your voice with the world. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks.